what's going on? TK here for TK and Drinks. We got another honest mead review. If you've never been here, about once a week or so, I, TK, your host, like to review a mead that I've purchased from somewhere around the country or was gifted to it, came across somehow, and give you my little thoughts and inputs and whatnot about that as a kind of practice for my entrance into the BJCP. Try to get my mead judging pin in that regard. If you want to stay up to date with all the TK and Drinks content, with the reviews, with the interviews, with the live videos, all that stuff, be sure to do all the stuff you're supposed to do, run your laps, eat your vitamins, all that jazz. So this week we have a very special entry into the mead review series. One I picked up here locally from a place called the Craic House. You can see there, Craic House spelled with a C, Craic House Meadery, which I believe is a Gaelic term. I'm going to look that up and put that on the screen, meaning like happy home or fruitful home, something like that. I'm probably completely wrong, but I had heard something along those lines, so I'm going to go with it. As we know, every good rumor that you hear is well-founded, especially ones you see on the internet. Before I start cracking open into the bottle, this is a flavor called the Red Balls 2, and that is a raspberry blossom honey with red currants, tart cherries, and of course raspberries. 14%, and you can follow these guys at Craic House Meadery, CRAIC, Craic House Meadery on Instagram and the Facebooks. It says it does contain sulfates, which is perfectly acceptable to me. I like the cool stamp in the wax there too. Always gotta appreciate the, there we go, got a little reflection in there. Always gotta appreciate the little bits of time and effort people put into these before you go destroyifying them with your corkscrew and all that. So I know you're supposed to peel that off and everything like that. Let's just hope it doesn't get a bunch of wax and shit down in the mead. There we go. Pop. Oop, they got the Craic House right there on the corks. Gotta love that. Again, attention to details. Not catching any super heavy aromas, but not wafting it past my face either. Let's do that. Ooh, very very berry-ish, a little bit kind of smell oxidized, a little bit sherry-esque. So I think that's what that might be. But let's go ahead and get the slow pour going on. Well, that felt like an absolute failure of a pour. Kind of glubbed out of there a little bit. No bubbles or anything really beyond the pour. I got some tiny little bits of bubbles remaining around the outside there, you can see. But nothing really beyond that. Cannot really get any light to penetrate through it. On the bottle here, probably a little bit better. It's not the most brilliant mead. It's definitely got a little bit of a haze to it, which I don't know if that's their style, if it's unclarified, unfiltered, if it's supposed to be that way or whatever, but definitely got a little bit of haze going on there to it. Now let's see if we can't get a swirl there. There we go. Now we got a nice swirl. Nice swirl. And get some legs going on up in there. I am seeing legs. Rest in peace, Dusty from ZZ Top, because this meat's got legs and looks like she knows how to use them. Well, let's hope she knows how to use them anyway. So definitely getting a much stronger, that oxidization type of smell, sherry type of smell to it. Again, that meniscus. Definitely, I guess I could, if I was going to call anything like a brown meniscus, it would be this one, because it doesn't look clear. I mean, like all the way out to the edge, it kind of has this like, I don't know, like dark brownish rust colored hue to it, I guess. I don't know, orangish, brownish, rust color. I don't know. Again, it could just be the mead and the floor beyond it, but it definitely is picking up a little bit of it looks different than some of the other ones I've looked at. Love the deep hue though. I mean, when I do get bits of the color coming through there, It just has this wonderful dark crimson, has this wonderful dark crimson hue to it. So let's give it a taste. Getting a few tastes in there, and definitely picking up the cherries and the red currant. Raspberry seems a little bit subtle in there. I'm not sure if I pick up the raspberry blossom honey, and that just might be my uneducated palate, might just be getting lost in the mix of flavors and I can't pick it out. The flavors fall off on this one pretty quick, especially compared to some of the other ones that we've had. It's got a medium body, light medium. I wouldn't say medium full, but I'll say it's a solid medium body on it. That being said, it's good, but it's not like I imagine this would be like something like a Schramm's would do. You know, all these heavy red berry flavors, and this is not doesn't give quite that same effect that the Schramm's does. It doesn't have quite that full bodiness to it. Like I said, a little bit oxidized, I would say. A little bit of that sherry type of flavor to it. It's not terrible or anything like that, but I think it certainly is noticeable. So let's get to the old scorecard. This one is certainly not my favorite I've had. It's not bad or anything, just that it's not great either. There's a lot of really good berry bombs out there. A lot of people doing some super smasher type stuff with their berries, and it's hard to stand out in that world as a pronounced name because there's so many great people out there doing it. Like anytime I get somebody that's got a heavy berry something, you know, first place I'm going to is what's that compared to against the Schramm's. You know, Ken Schramm literally wrote a book, if not the book, on how to make mead. So this is a guy who does it day in, day out, wins awards, competitions, all sorts of stuff. So you bring a heavy berry melomel, especially a cherry red currant one, which those cats are known for. It's just got a high bar set against it in my own personal book. And this one with some good flavors, but did not quite deliver on all that. So all that said, let's get to the scorecard. Scorecard is going to be a hefty 35 out of 50 for all those reasons I mentioned earlier. You know, you got a lot of heavy competition out there, so you got a still, sweet, standard strength mead, raspberry blossom honey, red currants, tart cherries, raspberries, all that definitely comes through in the aroma. 7 out of 10 on that. The currants and the cherries come through a lot stronger than the raspberry does. I was expecting a little more raspberry in there. The warmer it does get, you do get the raspberry notes in towards the end of the nose and everything. Appearance, gave it a 5 out of 6. Definitely got a little bit of the oxidization look in the meniscus, that little browning in the coloration. When you tilt it at an angle there, kind of look through there, get a little bit of that going on there. Otherwise, you get a deep crimson color, strong legs, the very few bubbles, no carbonation really beyond the pour, just kind of full of sugars and juices and not really a whole lot of room for aeration or anything like that. So got a 5 out of 6 on the appearance. A little bit of haze in there as well. Probably could have bumped it down another point on the appearance, but being how dark it was, it's kind of really hard to verify how hazy it was or wasn't. So we'll let that slide with the 5. Flavor, gave that a 16 out of 24. Definitely docked it points for that oxidization. Tastes like a sherry wine if you ever had something like that. A little bit, say, papery, cardboardy, I guess is another kind of way to put it. All the notes and everything say that that's a descriptor. I found that like the sherry wine is pretty much the most accurate description I can take away from these types of oxidized meads and stuff like that. Tart cherries, currant notes are definitely up front. Raspberry coming in much more faintly. A solid balance between the acidity, tartness, tannins, sweetness. Very well balanced in that regard. Definitely on the acidic side for some of the fruit, but it balances well with the sweetness. So that's a solid come up right there. Medium body, a little lighter body than I was expecting it to be, that dark. I was expecting to have a nice full coating. Not syrupy or cloying, but definitely a nice coating, full mouth feel to it. Have a nice, long, memorable mouth aftertaste and whatnot to it. But the mouth feel falls off fairly quickly. I'd say about 5 seconds or so. So again, 16 out of 24 there. 7 out of 10 on the overall impression. It's a decent berry bomb. If that's what you're going for, get your hands on one, definitely pick it up. Let me know what you think. I know there's going to be some people out there that are unhappy with what I've said, because I have some super strong, opinionated cats about this particular mead and meadery, but that's just what I'm seeing compared to some of the other ones I've had. So if you got any comments, questions, concerns, get at me. tkanddrinks on all my social medias, tkanddrinks@gmail.com, here in the YouTube comment section, all that jazz. As I say, it's an honest mead review, just my honest opinion. So there you go. Be on the lookout for more of these honest opinion reviews, honest mead reviews, more interviews, exclusive content here on the TK and Drinks YouTube channel, and the soon to come out TK and Drinks Patreon channel, if it's not already out by the time you see this video. So y'all, thank you all for being here tonight, watching this. Have a great day, good night, good evening.